Would it be wise to depend and rely only on corporate insurance for long term?
I think it is really important, right, to look further down the line where there will be one day when, you will stop work. It could be retirement, it could be other reasons. And then you will need to seriously consider what is the most important thing that you need to protect at that point of time and make an early assessment.
This is Money Talks Explains, where we get a burning question and we find an expert to break it all down for us. I'm Andrea Heng. Welcome. The world of insurance, it's big and confusing with lots of options. Today, we want to get a better understanding of corporate insurance, protection that's provided by your employer. What does it cover? When do you use it? Do you still need personal insurance if your company is already protecting you? Let's get these explained by Peggy Chan, a trainer from the Institute for Financial Literacy. Hi, Peggy.
Thanks for having me here.
So, the question on everyone's minds, Peggy, is our company insurance good enough? What exactly does it cover?
With company insurance, it may be a simple one. It could be comprehensive. It can come with a suite of insurance. So right at the top of our minds, most important is hospital and surgical, because these are where you may have those very big bills. And then, of course, you may have others which include outpatient, a specialist, maybe accident. Then there are those that also include life insurance.
Right.
Yeah, life insurance and critical illness. So it really depends on, how large a suite the group insurance comes with.
So it really depends on what the company signs up for
Yep,
at the end of the
exactly.
day. Okay. Are there limitations perhaps to group corporate insurance or group employee insurance compared to what we get on an individual level in the retail market, for example?
The first thing that you will definitely see is that your group insurance is ultimately term insurance, meaning that it covers for a period of time.
Okay.
It's logical, right? Because, that's during employment. However, compared with your personal insurance, you can buy plans which are lifelong. And then you will also find that your group plans can also be a lot cheaper if, for instance, you are allowed to buy voluntarily, right, to expand on your own personal insurance. You'll find that it's generally cheaper than personal insurance.
Cheaper does not necessarily always mean not so much coverage, right?
So that's where you will have to do your due diligence and do some sort of broad understanding, right, of where your personal insurance is, how much gap that you want to cover with these kind of group insurance that you can buy voluntarily. Yeah, so these are things that you can do.
Okay, lots of homework for sure. So if I have my own personal insurance, does it complement my corporate insurance, or will we likely see a lot of overlaps?
This is where we do have to explain why the overlap happens and the necessity for this overlap. Because there are periods in our employment lives where we may stop work. Maybe there are caregivers out there, for a period of time, and then you rejoin the industry again. So, there are gaps, which means that during these gaps, we will still need to be covered. And yes, we have to pay the price, for this protection.
Where exactly does the overlap happen usually?
So it's when you are under employment, right? You have your own personal insurance, let's say hospital or medical insurance, right? And then you also have the corporate health insurance. So this is where the overlap happens. But you don't pay, right, for your corporate.
So would it be fair to say that I am doubly covered in those areas that are overlapping?
Okay, so there is such a thing as coordination of benefits.
Okay.
So you can't claim for more than the size of the bill.
Right. So I can claim a portion of the bill from my corporate insurance and the remainder from my personal insurance. And then if that's not enough, I top up with cash.
Exactly.
Got it. On that note then, is it just enough for us to only rely on company insurance for our long-term needs? And this is assuming, of course, we are going to be employed by the same employer. We found ourselves an iron rice bowl. Would it be wise to depend and rely only on corporate insurance for long term?
I'm glad you singled out this group because they have been with their company for a very long time.
That's right.
And the insurance is good. But I think it is really important, right, to, look further down the line where there will be one day when, you will stop work. It could be retirement. It could be other reasons. And then you will need to seriously consider what is the most important thing that you need to protect at that point of time and make an early assessment, not just when you're about, to leave
I was
the
just about to
company.
get to that because with insurance, the advice is always start early.
Yeah.
So if you want to make this assessment, you better do it early in your career.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
What about riders? Can we purchase our rider for our corporate insurance? Or is that reserved only for personal individual insurance that we get from the retail market?
So it really depends on the group plan. Some of them do offer riders, which you pay for and you get a higher coverage. But then it's a choice. When you're younger, the riders are always, lower in cost. And as you get older, you tend to sink under, right, the rising cost of that rider. But at the same time, it's always about affordability.
Yes.
Our common advice is always look beyond your age banding. Have some foresight. Look down, the years and, genuinely see how it, goes up. It is not straight line, it's exponential.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on that curve. Then you will be able to tell, when it comes to riders, you can always downgrade.
I was about to ask, can we switch if we decide, okay, the rider that the company is offering on our group insurance is getting a bit too pricey? Could we perhaps switch and, like you said, downgrade? Yeah.
Yes. Of course, it is always easier to downgrade than to decide to upgrade.
Should we consider reviewing our personal insurance plans in a bid to pay lower premiums while we are covered by our employee insurance? Should I shop around for something that's a bit more affordable on the personal side?
I think that's a good question. And it's also, I think, very prudent. The reason is because for those who are work entrants, right, you will suddenly be overwhelmed by, the amount of coverage that you need and your savings and your budget is not very high. So,
Adulting stuff,
yes,
essentially.
adulting stuff. You might get a little bit worried, right, whether you are sufficiently covered and why don't I just rely more on, corporate insurance since you are provided with it. So do have a good look at your budget, buy within your means. We always have this rule of thumb which says, do not spend more than 15% of your income on insurance. Of course, this is a very broad rule of thumb.
Sure.
But it helps you to, know that there is a proportion, right? And so with that, you may rely on that corporate insurance, but you will need to keep an eye out, right? Because this is your aim. You want to be covered, up to a certain point. So as, you improve in your savings, as you improve on that proportion that you can pay for insurance, do improve that coverage.
Okay. In the event that we need to claim our insurance and expense rather, do we use our corporate insurance first? And how should we maximize it? Because this is something that I have seen anecdotally a lot of people do.
Yes, as a rule of thumb, yes.
Okay.
But, surprisingly, because I have heard anecdotally as well from those who have been with the company for a very long time, they may not have used it at all, but on the contrary, because they have been paying for their own personal insurance, that is always, right at the top of their head. So if at the point of an emergency, at the point of a treatment, they go to the hospital, I think the first thing that crops up in their mind is my own personal insurance.
Yes, of course.
Forgetting the fact that there is a corporate insurance.
I wonder if it's because they have this assumption maybe that corporate insurance doesn't cover all that much. We can't possibly claim all that much. Maybe that's that mindset?
It could be. So really it depends on, the grade of work that you're doing in the company and, what they offer, because there are different categories. Some of them may think that, okay, I don't think I'm getting a lot of coverage, and why don't I just save myself the trouble and just claim from my own personal insurance first? There are, of course, pluses and minuses, because if you have a lower grade or lower coverage from your corporate insurance, then of course, if you go for hospitalization, the letter of guarantee with your own personal insurance may actually allow you to be admitted without any deposit.
Okay.
As compared to corporate insurance. And honestly, how many people, before I go to the hospital,
Yes.
go and find out, do I need to pay a deposit or not?
Exactly. At the point in time in an emergency, that's going to be the last thing on your mind.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So these are the things that, will catch the patients by surprise after the fact, right? And there are also situations whereby, because there is a sort of restriction, right, to the kind of ward, right, for your own corporate insurance and for your own insurance. So if, let's say, touch wood, when they got to the hospital, they were unconscious, the
Yes.
family has to decide,
Right.
which ward and, what kind of care. And so, of course, sometimes, the family, out of, genuine, concern, they just want to give them comfort,
Yes.
put them up,
Yes.
as the, the higher range, only to realize that, they are not covered at that level. So certain things, it's good to sort of broadly categorize, let the family know just in case, so that they know where to place you.
So maximize corporate insurance first, at least check, make the effort to check.
Yes.
If you can, tap on corporate insurance first before tapping on personal insurance. Can we actually negotiate the kind of coverage that we get from our employer? I'm just suddenly curious about this.
I guess it depends on which level, what rank you're working at. Yeah, but typically I think as employees, we just accept.
Okay.
And sometimes we don't know what we don't know, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
So
Yeah. Have you ever heard of employees negotiating their corporate insurance?
Well, I know of expats who do that.
Right.
Yeah.
So it is
because
possible.
It is, because some of them may need or may be anticipating relocation.
Right.
Or some of them are, interested in raising a family. So they just want to make sure that there is sufficient maternity benefits and such. I think it's because they are very aware, right, of what they can cover and what they can benefit from. But nevertheless, I think, not many of us will actually delve into our corporate insurance.
Yeah,
and-
we just, okay, thanks. I'll take it home. Can we dictate how much to claim from company insurance versus personal insurance? For example, I'm at the hospital, I'm paying up my bill. I say, hey, I want 50% to be covered by my corporate insurance if it's possible, and I'll pay up the other 50 with my personal insurance. I mean, can we negotiate that at the cashier?
Usually no.
Okay.
Usually no. You decide which one you want to claim from first. So they will optimize the claims from the first insurance, right, that you prefer. And then if there is any balance, that is when you claim from
Right.
your other insurance.
So it's pretty straightforward then.
It's supposed to be pretty
Okay,
straightforward.
and a lot of the medical facilities here are quite well aware of these practices, are they not?
Yes, it really depends on the insurance itself, whether they can directly work these sums out with the hospital. If not, so there are two ways to claim, right? So one is that you just tell the hospital, I have this corporate insurance, and so they work it out between these two parties. Otherwise, then you will have to pay first.
Right.
Right. Then go back to your office, submit the claims.
And so do a reimbursement.
Yeah, do a reimbursement.
Okay.
Yeah. So whichever that you find is more convenient for your own pocket.
Okay, so what should we as employees take note of when our company switches insurance providers?
Okay, usually when they switch insurance company, and because in Singapore we have a very lively, there's a lot of competition in the market, typically you are able to retain, right, whatever that you had. With a plus,
Oh.
with improvements,
Right.
But I think one of the first things you really want to take note of is my insurance. If it was portable at first, does it still remain portable?
And by portable you mean?
Oh, so portable simply means that should I leave my company,
Right.
can I bring it along with me as my own personal insurance?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you
you
can
continue
check.
to pay yourself. So the company doesn't pay anymore, but I continue to pay and I continue to keep my insurance. The other to track is that because some of the insurance that's offered could come without underwriting.
Okay, what does that mean?
Without underwriting simply means that they will not, make you go through a medical to see whether you have any pre-existing, and then that's when they start to tell you whether they are going to cover you or whether they're going to KIV, keep in view,
Right.
or they are going to just load. That means the company has to pay more.
Sure.
Right.
Right.
Okay. So these are things that happens. So you want to see if you continue to keep the portion where you're covered that has no underwriting. This is really important and especially useful because I've found that there are some people who share with me, look, I had treatment, I had surgery, and now when I go out there and I buy insurance, they just won't offer. It's really hard to find.
Right.
This is where corporate insurance can come in very handy. So some of them do offer up to a certain amount, right, that they will cover. Say, take for instance, life insurance. So they may say that, look, as an employee, you can take up insurance, and the first 100, 200,000, no underwriting.
Okay.
Yeah. So you just buy that,
And
right?
that's peace of mind.
Exactly. That is peace of mind. So, it's good to track, right, to see if the insurer who is taking over, whether they also offer, the same level.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I have a pre-existing condition and my employer changes insurance provider,
yes.
if there's no underwriting, I can assume that I will be covered. It just depends on the amount.
Yes.
Okay, that's reassuring.
That's reassuring.
Most of the time, is this common that when companies change insurance provider that there's no underwriting, or it really depends?
So it really depends.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I'm sure when they're negotiating, there is usually some upsides, right, to moving to the next plan. So, but it's always, I think, useful because you're trying to protect your own interests. Just to double check if the amount, right, that is covered without underwriting still remains. If not, do you just want to be prepared?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's good to know. And you talked about the portability aspect earlier. I know of people who have left a company and they were able to carry on that same insurance coverage. Should portability be offered to employees, to more employees moving down the road?
So in terms of portability, this is very much desired, right? Again, it comes with a cost because there is a certain amount of administration involved. So of course, it will cost more in terms of group insurance. However, if there is that option of portability, it is important again to review, do you still need that?
Yeah.
So typically, as we get older, what do you think you will need more of? Life insurance or health insurance?
Probably health insurance.
Yes, right. So,
because I need my bills taken care of.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And as we, relook at that need,
Okay.
we will want to make sure that we are sufficiently covered by our own personal one. And if we still need that additional amount of cover from that portable group insurance, why not?
Okay.
If you can afford it.
Yeah.
And then if you review that, you don't need that life, insurance portion, then, you can forgo it.
So anyone or everyone listening to you explain this world of corporate insurance versus personal insurance, they are going to start reviewing their existing plans. Or it could be someone starting a new job and thinking about, okay, what kind of insurance coverage am I going to get from my employer? So recap for us, what are the top 3 things we as employees need to look out for in our corporate insurance plans?
Okay, so right at the top, I would say look out for portability.
Okay.
Second, all right, look out for coverage that does not need underwriting. Okay. And the next one, if you're going to start a family or you need to look after your dependents, then check to see if there is insurance that's offered that covers your dependents or children.
That's important as well. And would dependents also include parents?
Usually not. So
Okay.
it's typically spouse, children, and to see if how much you could get that additional leverage, right? Because for young families, children, they tend to get sick very often.
Yeah.
So it's just nice. It's just nice to have the benefit.
Nice bonus there.
Yeah.
All right, that's corporate insurance explained and the top 3 things you need to look out for. Thank you for being our Money Talks explainer, Peggy.
Love to be here.
Do you have a finance thing that you want explained? Well, Money Talks is here for you. And to do that, we'll need to hear from you. All you have to do is send us an email at cnapodcasts@mediacorp.com.sg. Thank you for listening to Money Talks.